Hey there, Lynn and Joseph with Saltmarsh Properties. We are back and we're coming to you today with another video on a really good topic. Joseph, tell them what we're talking about.
Yeah, so one of the most common questions we hear right now, and honestly have always heard, is does it make more financial sense to rent or buy while you're moving to Charleston right now, or if you're in Charleston right now? And it's a fair question with interest rates higher than they have been for the last few years, and a lot of buyers are understandably pausing, wondering what to do, what may be a smarter move for them short term. Affordability is an issue, so a lot of questions that are coming in this.
And the reality is, y'all, there is not a universal answer. The right decision depends on your financial goals, your timeline, and how you think about housing as part of your larger wealth building strategy. The mistake people often make is reducing this conversation to just a monthly payment comparison, because monthly cost is just one part of the equation.
Yeah, what really matters is that decision, what it looks like over time. Like, what are the long time of this? So, and when you're evaluating renting versus buying over a 5-year horizon, the financial picture often becomes a lot more clear. You just got to be able to have that conversation.
Yeah, so today we want to walk through how to think about this decision strategically here in Charleston and what often saves people more over the long term.
Yep.
Renting often feels financially safer because the costs are more visible and predictable up front, right? You know your monthly rent. You usually avoid major maintenance costs, and the initial cash required is lower than purchasing. That simplicity, we understand, can feel very attractive.
100%. And in some situation, it does make sense, right? Mm-hmm. If your career may relocate you soon, that's a big one, right? If your financial situation, if you're still stabilizing with that, or if flexibility is your highest priority, then renting can become a right strategic choice. And let me be very clear. I mean, we've been in real estate. Yeah. There's nothing inherently wrong with renting, right?
Right. And where sometimes people misunderstand the math, though, is assuming that lower monthly complexity automatically means lower term costs. And that's not always true, because every rent is a pure expense. It solves your housing need for that month, and this is important, but then it's gone. There's no ownership stake being created. You're reducing a principal, but you're reducing your landlord's principal, not your own. Correct. And then you have no long-term equity growth.
Yeah, and buying changes that financial structure entirely, right? Like Lynn mentioned, rent is an expense. A mortgage payment is not simply an expense. Yes, part of it is interest, but part of that payment, unless you've got some wonky loan, often reducing that principal, which gradually increases your ownership position, increases your equity, and over time, that can become really, really meaningful.
Yeah, we want to stay away from wonky loans, as Joseph
Wonky loans are not a good thing.
All right, now then there's this to think about, and we've done multiple videos. Our YouTube channel is full of them about the different trends in Charleston, but we really need to focus on the appreciation of a market, right? It's never in a perfectly straight line, and just like every other market, Charleston goes through cycles. But over longer ownership periods, real estate has historically rewarded patience. And Charleston, as we've learned, has proved to be one of the strongest markets to buy a home in the Southeast. And knowing that about the local piece really matters.
100%. Because if the market appreciates while you're also paying down your principal, you're kind of hitting that equity built from two sides. And that's a great thing for you to have. That equity becomes financial leverage for you in the future. It can help you purchase your next home. It can help you purchase a rental home. It helps strengthen your long-term net worth if that's important to you. And it simply creates optionality for you later.
And we've walked that process. We've done everything from going from renting to buying, and then using those homes to then buy something else. So there are different ways to use that, the finances and the appreciation. But here's where the conversation gets a little more interesting. If you're only planning to stay in Charleston for 12 months, then buying might not make the most financial sense. Transaction costs matter, short-term ownership limits equity growth, and flexibility becomes more valuable for sure.
Yeah, and once we start looking at the 3 to 5 year window, though, that equation definitely changes, because now you have time to reduce your principal, like we discussed. Your market will appreciate for the most part. We've seen some blips over the last few years, but in a 50-year history of real estate, there's always been trending upwards, right? Payment stability is a big one. If you have a fixed rate mortgage, the compounding effect of ownership is tenfold, because your payment doesn't go up, right? Where rent often does. So take that part.
Yeah, I mean, this is a crucial point that we can't ever get away from. And rent really doesn't ever stay flat for 5 years. If you're a renter, you've probably experienced multiple increases during that time. And unlike a fixed mortgage payment, those increases build no ownership position. So back to that point, while renting may feel less expensive today, the long-term comparison often shifts in favor of ownership.
Absolutely. And this is where we want to be careful, because this conversation should never be pressure.
Right.
And it should never feel like pressure in buying something,
Yeah.
right? Buying before you're financially ready, not wise, right? Ownership should actually create stability for you, not stress and just pressure.
Exactly. So the goal is alignment, and we want to figure out how that could, align with your finances. We don't want to stretch those too thin. If your timeline is uncertain, if flexibility is going to better serve you now, then renting may be the better strategic decision, and that's perfectly okay.
Yes.
But if your income is stable, your time horizon is long, it's time, and you're like, I'm ready to do this, and your financial foundation is in place, then the buying creates that advantage that honestly renting cannot replicate over time.
Yeah. And Charleston itself, this area, Charleston, the greater Charleston area, Tri-County area, Dorchester, Berkeley as well, it adds an important layer to all of this, right? This is not a market people that typically move to by accident, right? People are coming here intentionally. They're coming here for lifestyle. They're coming here for opportunity, and they're coming here for long-term quality of life. And that sustained demand matters when evaluating ownership potential, which is why people still invest as much as they do in Charleston, because that's been the case for as long as I've been here, for almost 30 years.
It's a long time.
It is a long time.
And because Charleston continues to attract relocation buyers, military transitions, long-term lifestyle-driven demand, like they've always wanted to have a place by the beach, we have like a layered group of people who come for different reasons. So that's why ownership often carries stronger long-term positioning than you might initially realize. So that doesn't guarantee outcomes, but it certainly helps shape the probability along with your goals.
Absolutely. So when people are asking renting versus buying, if it saves more over 5 years, the answer is usually it depends, which kind of can be annoying, but it depends on your timeline, right? Your financial readiness, your long-term goals, which we want to work through with you.
And here's the good news. If you're planning to stay in Charleston and you're financially prepared, ownership often becomes much more than a housing decision. It becomes a wealth building decision. And we certainly have tried to take that approach as we have grown in our real estate wisdom.
Yeah, and that's how we encourage people to look at this, right? Not through fear, not through headlines, not interest rate speculation. Good Lord, please stop trying to speculate interest rate. Strategy, right? Sitting down. So if you're weighing whether or not you want to rent or buy, or which one makes more sense to you, the answer usually becomes clear when you sit down, you go through a consultation, and we can help you make that decision.
Yes, that's a perfect lead in, because we really pride ourselves on our buyer consultation. It's thorough. It asks all the questions tailored to you to be sure that if we decide to embark on this, everyone feels good about what that short and long term looks like. However, if it isn't, then we'll set you up properly if it is a more future plan. But that's the goal of the buyer consultation, which we like to do.
100%. So if we can do anything to help you, please don't hesitate to reach out, like the video, follow us, shoot us an email. We're happy to help.
Hey there, Lenny.